What if I told you that you have extraordinary, one-of-a-kind gifts just waiting to be uncovered? I'm Claire Kellems, psychic medium, intuitive guide, and animal communicator, and I'm here to share my personal journey of spiritual growth and healing in the hope that my true lived experiences will ignite something inside you, empowering you to embrace your truest, most aligned self. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into all things spiritual development, manifestation, breaking generational cycles, aligning your life with limitless abundance, and so much more. I am beyond excited to go on this transformative journey with you and witness your growth as you expand into the person you were always destined to be. I wasn't put on this earth to play small, and neither were you. Are you ready? Let's get aligned. Hi everyone, how are you all doing today? I hope you are having an amazing day, and I hope you had an amazing Easter weekend if you celebrated. I know I had a pretty awesome weekend. I got to spend time with, friends and family and friends that I hadn't seen in some time, and we actually got together at our cabin and had a little group reading, which was fun. It's always really fun, honestly, just to see friends again that, you don't usually get to see very often. So I had a really good weekend, and we spent a lot of time outside with our son. He got some chalk in his Easter basket. So we've been drawing all over our sidewalk and driveway. So it's been fun. It's been a fun Easter weekend, and we are slowly getting back into the groove of the work week again. It feels like it's been so crazy over the past couple weeks because we had to move out of our house because of the floodwaters, and then it was Easter, and I feel like we haven't really gotten time to settle back into the normal routine of day-to-day life here at our house. So I'm looking forward definitely getting back into that routine. So without further ado, I am going to introduce today's episode, which I'm really excited about. I was able to give a reading over the weekend to a really lovely human. She was kind enough to give me permission to actually share her reading on today's episode. So I'm super excited about that. So you will get a little more insight on how I read for others. Now, I really do, I'm really excited about this because it's hard to be able to explain how a reading goes and how a reading operates more or less without actually sitting in a reading yourself. So I'm really excited to be able to share this so you can kind of get some insight on how I read and how readings work and how they work. And anyway, so I'm really excited for that today. Before I dive into the episode though, I do want to mention a couple things. So first and foremost, if you are interested in a reading for yourself, you can find more information on my website at clairekellems.com. Currently, I offer mediumship readings, which again, if you're not familiar with, mediumship readings are the connection with loved ones in spirit on the other side. That could be loved ones, that could be animals as well. And sometimes it can blend with a soul intuitive guide reading. That's really kind of where wherever spirit really leads us. So, and then my other option is a soul and intuitive guide reading. So that one is more quote unquote psychic reading based. I like to use the words soul and intuitive guide because I do feel like it is me blending with your soul, your higher self, to kind of bring to light what your soul may be trying to communicate to you. So if you feel kind of stuck in a certain area of life, that one might be a good reading for you. It kind of helps unblock some of those blocks that you may have and that you may not know you have. So I really like that one as well. If there is not a specific connection to someone on the other side that you're hoping, to hear from. And, it's always interesting because in mediumship readings, someone you may think will come through, sometimes another person that you wouldn't have thought of will come through. And it's really interesting, who will come through. And it's actually funny because for the reading that I did for this woman, she didn't know which reading she was really after, but she actually chose an animal reading. and it was for her dog that is still living, but is a little bit older. So it started with that, and then we got into it. We were like 5 minutes into it, and immediately spirit started like just like pushing their way in. So it's kind of hard for me to ignore that, because they are wanting to, if they want to come in, they're going to come in. If they've got a message to get across, they will come in. So that's kind of why this reading at first might be bouncing back and forth quite a bit, is because I was trying to focus on the pet that was here, and spirit was like, nope, we're wanting to communicate this. So there was a lot of bouncing back and forth, especially at the beginning. And now I will say, if you stay throughout the entire reading, at the end, she really validates a lot of things for me. She really explains a lot of things that were coming up in this session. So if you're wanting to stay tuned to the end, you'll really start to understand why certain things were coming through for me, and she's able to explain a lot of the things that I was seeing or hearing or whatever it may be. And it was really, really interesting. And there was really a really cool part about a rose, a symbolic rose that you'll understand later in the reading if you stay with it and or listen to the end. So listen to the end, because there's a lot of little fun surprises at the end. I'll just leave it at that. So one last thing that I had to add in for you guys, I took out a few bits of information out of this reading just for privacy's sake. So you might hear some glitches, you might hear a few things here and there. That is because I took out some names and some other information that, even though she had given me full permission for the entire reading, for privacy's sake, I just left out names and some bits of information. So I think that's all I had to share with you today. Again, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at theultralignedpodcast@gmail.com, or you can contact me on my website. There's a contact tab that you can send a question, and you can also reach out to me on Instagram at Claire the Medium. And so I have a lot of pretty good platforms that you can reach out and ask questions if you have any. Yeah, I think that's all I really had to share with you guys today. So without further ado, guys, here is the reading, and I hope you enjoy. Well, and then I will say too, it is possible that a combination of things can come through. It just kind of, it's hard for me, I guess, to stay, because they kind of just will pop in no matter what if they want to. So I just kind of go with it. But I did want to ask, so the picture that you sent me yesterday of your sweet pup, um, um, is she female?
Yes.
Okay. And is she still living, or has she passed?
She is still living.
Okay. So one of the first things that really, and I wanted to ask just in case, because sometimes I'll get names a lot, but it'll happen so fast. So I wasn't for sure, because the name or the word that popped up was angel. And now I have side story, but it's okay. So do you have a pet, or do you know anyone like named Angel?
No,
And
but
that's okay.
that does have that. I feel like there's like a connection, but
Okay.
as we're going through, like, do you want me to, like, how much information do you want me to give you? Like,
So you can start with kind of like yeses or nos, and then I'll ask you to explain further
okay,
for whatever. So
okay,
yeses and nos are fine, and then if something comes up that I'm like, okay, let's go into this a little bit deeper, I'll start.
okay.
I'll ask. But okay. So with her, what is her name?
Her name is Lil.
Lil. Okay, that's
Lil,
cute.
yeah.
That's cute. So, okay, and I keep kind of getting pulled back to this. Now, I will be completely transparent with you. I can gather certain information, obviously based off pictures and so things
Mhm.
like that. So, I will be transparent with you there. But the first thing that they kind of keeps pulling me back to, is the pancreas. Has she had any issues in the past with her pancreas?
No, I don't think so.
That's okay. That's okay. Because I keep getting pulled to the pancreas. And now I do
Okay.
feel, sorry, she, do you by chance have any pets that have passed?
I um I yeah, yes.
That's okay.
That's
That's
as
okay.
not directly mine, but like I am connected to other ones that were close, like within family.
That's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure
Oh,
I'm like going with the
okay.
same thing here. Because the pet that I'm connecting to does feel a little bit like a Spitfire. And that's very specific to say, kind of like a little bit of like a little bit, just a little bit on the feistier side, or at one point was more so on the feistier side. And I say this in a way that like not mean, not intentionally or aggressive or anything like that, but just kind of like had a very specific mind of our own and like a very specific way about this. I keep wanting to say this animal, this dog, and I keep feeling like I'm almost feeling like I'm connected to two different animals possibly here because
Okay.
I keep kind of trying to go towards Lil here, but I keep getting pulled into another direction. And
Okay.
that's
That's fine.
so I'm going to try to go with a little bit of both here. But now, okay. Okay. Do you have by chance, or do you know of by chance of a cat that would have been um on the other side or living that you would have been connected to?
Yes, growing up.
That's okay. Whatever is connecting and whatever is not connecting, that's totally fine. But okay, let me go back to. Okay, I keep wanting to go back. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Lil now. And I am just gonna go ahead and ask what, if any, if any health issues may be affecting her currently, because I do feel a very specific pull with something. So I'm just gonna ask if there even is.
Well, she's very old.
Hmm.
So there are could be multiple things.
Okay.
I mean, she's at the point where like we are not doing anything because
Yeah.
it's like so yes, I mean she's very old. She's do you want me to go into detail? Okay. So she's blind in one eye, she's going blind in the other eye.
Yes.
She is I mean, I definitely know her joints and stuff. She's just so old that
Yeah.
that there I mean I'm sure there probably are other things because I'm just kind of like letting it like run
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's of course as long as she's not in pain.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I don't feel that necessarily, but I keep getting pulled back towards the pancreas. And
Okay.
um like that kept coming up for me in like the abdomen. So full disclosure as well, I'm a licensed veterinary technician. I don't practice anymore,
Okay.
but I do have but I've worked with animals
Okay.
um clinically in the past, and I keep getting pulled to our to our abdominal region.
Okay.
And I keep saying the pancreas, but I also want to almost go towards um, like spleen or like right there in the kind of like in the center of like our abdomen. And I keep getting
Okay.
pulled there. I don't feel like that I'm not like in I don't feel in pain. I do feel a little bit more, tired.
Yeah.
But I don't feel pain.
Okay.
Now, I do just keep getting pulled back to the abdomen, back to the abdomen. So maybe just keep an eye on that. Maybe just keep an eye on like do you do like routine um have you done blood work recently with her?
No.
That's okay. Just keep an eye on belly and just make sure we're
Okay.
not painful in the belly at all or become
Okay.
painful in the belly because I keep getting pulled there.
Okay.
Now, but again, I don't feel pain I don't feel painful except, like I like to say like the old, your typical old lady stuff. So like,
Yeah.
your, like you said, your joints, like,
Hmm.
those conditions, but I don't feel like an extreme pain anywhere typically really in my body. Now, so I'm gonna ask, I guess the number like 14, 15s keep coming up. How old is Lil?
She is anywhere from like 14 to 16. When
Okay.
I got her, we weren't quite sure how old she was. So
Okay.
I mean, it is anywhere from that age. So
Okay. Okay. Because it was kind of specifically like 15.
okay.
But I was just kind of trying to gauge, what that number, now that sorry, things come in so quickly. Do you have any connection with a rose by chance?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Rose a person or is Rose something that is very symbolic to you?
Symbolic.
Okay. So is this connected with Lil or is this connected with something else entirely?
Well, it's connected to me.
Okay. Okay. Um, okay. I just keep bouncing back and forth. I'm just gonna say, can you stay on one thing here? Because we're bouncing really quickly here. And then if you don't mind me asking, do you have children by chance?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a son by chance?
Yes.
Okay. I want to go to the son.
Okay.
And let me kind of ask like how old is son? How old is
13.
son? I was gonna say 12, so I was close. I was gonna say 12. Um, okay, can you tell me if there's anything specific going on with son right now in son's life that you know of?
Um, Besides normal 13-year-old things.
Yeah,
I
I think there's a connection here.
okay.
Does he have a specific bond with Lil or with um that you know of? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
besides
Yeah,
like,
of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I keep getting pointed like towards sun and towards sun, and that's where this is coming in. Okay, so I pulled a card actually before I sat down. When I pull cards, I usually just wait until they pop up in a session for me, and when they kind of like draw my attention to the card. So the card was emotional loss. And this feels directly connected to Lil. And I will say
Okay.
this I do feel like Sun, even if he may not express it to you, I feel like Sun's going to really struggle with
Okay.
with this with this specifically. It's going to be like a so I almost feel like I don't really share with you 100% how upset it's making me, but it's like making me almost
Okay.
like I've got goosebumps all over and I'm like kind of
Yeah.
almost shaky.
Yeah.
So I just want to almost like preface you with that so you
Okay.
have that tool going forward, because this feels very, very specific. Now, do you have a grandparent on the other side?
Yes.
Okay, is there a grandmother on the other side?
Yes.
Okay, is the grandmother connected to the rose by chance?
Yes.
Okay. So she's coming in because she's the one that's like, please, just keep an eye on that because I do feel I'm really covered head to toe in like cold chills. But she's the one that's kind of saying, just kind of keep an eye on this because I do feel like okay, so do you have a connection by chance, like psychic mediumship abilities by chance of some nature that you
Yeah.
feel that you have? Okay,
Yeah.
so you feel like a very sensitive, and I say sensitive, I mean sensitive in the way that you like you attract those, I call them radio frequencies. So like the connections, like you're sensitive in that way to
Yes.
receiving them. And I feel like Sun is too. Even if Sun may not, he may or may not say it, but he's very in tune with this.
Yes.
Do you have a daughter by chance?
I do not.
Okay. Do you have, is it just the one son then?
Yes.
Okay. Because so this would make sense then. So yeah, it just keeps coming in. even if I might not share it 100% with you, what I'm feeling, what's going on, I'm
Mhm.
100% feeling it, and it's
Okay.
100% there.
Yes.
Now she kind of like not hangs around. I'm not saying that. She watches over him specifically because she can feel like this, and I'm starting to even like get a little like my chest is almost getting like a little bit tight because I can almost feel like Sun at school can also pick up on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like Sun is being bullied or anything like that, but I almost feel like I'm walking through school and I can just like feel so much, and it's
Yeah.
almost so overwhelming that I'm like starting to get like a little bit panicky, which is interesting because I was like that in school a lot, and I could walk through school and like feel those emotions and those happenings, and it was making me
Yeah.
so it would make me so nervous and so overwhelmed, and that's
Yeah.
like how I'm starting to feel. And do you have a grandfather on the other side by chance?
Yes.
Were these two connected?
Yeah.
Okay. And was he by chance in the military or
Yes.
because he's showing me like an army hat.
Yes.
Was he in the army?
Yes.
Okay. Specifically, was he in like the Vietnam or like the I'm so bad with dates.
He
Was it World War II? Is that which I'm trying
he
to think of the
was, but it wasn't one of those ones. It was after that, I
okay.
believe. So,
Okay.
but yeah, but yes.
Okay. So these two, they kind of hang out like right next to each other. So you said they
Hmm.
are connected.
Yes.
Okay, so they kind of hang out like with each other, which is I don't know, I don't know how else to explain this. It's not like I don't know how to explain this. So were okay, so were they married?
Yes.
Okay. Because but were they overly affectionate with like each other? Because how they stand next to each other, they kind of just like stand like sometimes you'll see them like or how I will see them. It's kind of hard to explain. I will kind of see them how you remembered them, if that
Okay.
makes
Yeah.
sense, and how they're kind of just like they're fine with each other. They're just kind of like standing next to each other, and it's kind of cute how they're like standing next to each other, but they're not like all over each other, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah.
they're just like perfectly happy being like right there next to each other,
Yes.
and um. They're funny because one of them I feel like had a little bit of a maybe of a, like a dry sense of humor or like a sense of humor of some nature. No, hold on. Okay, because someone then said as soon as I said it, someone said the word strict, like I was pretty strict. So now I don't know if I have someone else here.
Possible.
Uh, okay, because it kind of stepped back a little bit. Okay. Do you have anyone who would have been possibly around? And I'm trying to figure out their location here. So it's either aunt or uncle, or it feels like more like cousin, sibling, like on the same level around
Yes.
my age when I passed, or
Yes.
around my
Yes.
age. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Was this
And
a
yes.
was this a was this like a friend or a cousin?
Yes.
Okay. Female?
Yes.
Okay. So I keep trying to figure out the relation, but how old was she when she passed? Was she in her was 30s?
Yes.
Okay. Because I feel like it happened very, very quickly.
Yes.
And she's showing me like a car wreck. Or a wreck of like an accident of some nature. Um
Okay.
Sometimes they'll show me, I have like specific signs they'll show me, and sometimes they'll show me like a car wreck, but really means like an accident.
Okay.
Um,
Yes.
do you resonate with this?
Yes.
Okay. Um, hmm. Okay. Would you mind explaining then who this person was to you, if you don't mind?
Yes. So she is my cousin and
Okay.
friend. So
Hmm.
that would make sense. We grew up
Yes.
together, same age. So
Yes.
yep. So that is my cousin, and she did pass in her 30s. And I would say that what happened was an accident. So it was not a car accident though.
Okay.
But that's
Okay.
interesting. It's come through before as a car wreck too.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes they'll show me like specific images for acts. I've had that happen before too, where it's
Okay.
like an accident.
Yeah.
Now they are showing me, I'm gonna ask you this, and I don't know how else to better explain it than how it's gonna come through.
Okay.
I feel was she confused or not necessarily confused, but in like an altered state when she had passed, meaning like was she and this is just an example, it doesn't necessarily have to be this, was like like under the influence,
Yes.
taking prescriptions along those
Yes.
lines.
Yeah.
Okay, because
Hmm.
I get like like these swirling clouds when I see like confusion, and I feel like this was, did she pass
Hmm.
unintentionally by her own hand?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Because it does not feel intentional, um, but it very much so did. It went too far. Um,
Yes.
she keeps bringing up the rose, but bringing it up in a way that she's like, I show you signs too,
Yeah.
and it kept coming through because I kept hearing rose, but I was like, well, that's grandma, and she was like, no, I show her too, and so
Yeah.
like she's very
No.
adamant, like I show her
Yeah.
too, and she's like, she's like, I'm sending them, and I almost feel like you're almost like, is that you? Like, is that you? And she's very much like, yes, that's
Yeah.
me, that's me. And like she just wants you to know that she's okay and that she's here and she's watching. She watches over like a group of people.
Yeah.
Like a very much like I almost feel like, and maybe this is like where this like kind of sense of humor may or may not have been coming in, but I feel like I'm watching over all these people and I'm so very proud of like all of these people. I really am. And I really like just like these each individual, like, as I feel like she had like her family connections, but she also had like your family connections, but she also maybe had some other
Hmm.
connections with some friends. And I do feel like I just watch everyone. I'm so proud of how each one is living their lives. And now I do feel like I'm gonna go to you directly. Are you struggling with a certain aspect in your life? Whether that be career, and I shouldn't say struggling necessarily, but like a little bit of like, I just don't really know um what it is. And I keep going to Sun. She's pulling me back to Sun actually. So I'm gonna go to Sun because does he have a lot of anxiety?
Yes.
Because I almost feel like he worries about everything. And I say this in a way that I feel like I'm worrying way too much for a 12, 13, you say 13?
Yeah.
I'm worrying way too much for a 13-year-old. And I can almost feel like he's like, I don't know what job I'm gonna have. Like it literally like I think it goes so much further, and she specifically is wanting me to bring this in. Um, like both she and grandma are kind of wanting me just like to bring this in, just not to like, not to scare you in like
Yeah.
any way, but just to bring awareness. Like there's like underlying, like I'm feeling so hot and so just like anxious. And
Okay.
I really just like, she's kind of wanting me to bring that into just to kind of have that awareness yourself. Okay.
Okay.
Now we're gonna bounce again because this kind of came up earlier. Do you have a partner by chance?
No.
No. Were you ever married or
Yes.
okay, is there okay, the man that you were or that is the father, is he does he see son?
No.
Okay.
Not. Mm-mm.
Because there's a lot of and I say this with so genuinely so much love.
Yeah.
There's a lot of what's the word? Uncertainty or stress on son with father. I almost feel like like and I like I this is just kind of how I have to explain it. I almost feel like is he gonna show up one day? And that stresses me out. Like that makes me like literally like start to like panic. And I almost feel like we do, but we don't want him to show up. And it just makes me so nervous. And now the child's father, is he into not so great things?
He does have issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, because and I say this with genuinely, but this is kind of just how they said it. He's kind of unpredictable.
Yes.
And very much can be, and
Yeah.
that feels like a huge
Yes.
stress on you and a huge stress on son. And I genuinely want to preface this by saying they're bringing it through so strongly just so you have the tools, not to add more stress onto you, but to
Right.
say, we're here, we can see these, we can see what you're feeling, what
Yes.
that's doing to you, and we are here with you. And I almost feel like that's where his, and I mean son's heightened sense of awareness almost not necessarily stems from, but he has a specific into like tunement to that. So he's constantly like aware of his not surroundings, but aware of other people's emotions
Hmm.
because of that uncertainty. If that makes
Okay.
any kind of sense. I don't know if that did or
Yes.
not, but that's kind of how
No, it does.
it's kind of it's coming through that way. But again, I really want to they really are like like I'm like kind of laughing. They're like a freaking what am I trying to say here? You know, like the football line,
Yeah.
like the linebackers, they're like here.
Yeah.
They're like there's nobody messing with them. Like I'm so like I feel so protective over your and your son's energies and like that like I like there's no one messing with them. And they almost like come through like saying this as a like just in the off chance that he were to ever like call or show up somewhere. Um, just so you have that awareness that it it's not impossible. I don't see him like just like showing up somewhere like randomly, but there's always an off chance because you know everyone has their own free will and you know and so I
Mhm.
just want to they're kind of just wanting me to say like hey just so you remember this conversation going
Okay.
forward
Okay.
um and just in case and almost just having this information knowledge is power so kind of having this
Yeah.
information going forward just so you know it's always a possibility um but I do feel okay I'm going you know kind of going back here your son has a very, and I don't know maybe if you know this or not, but your son has a very unique connection with animals. And maybe he has expressed it or maybe he has not, but there is something with, and I almost feel like maybe even in the future a pet or someone comes into his life unexpectedly and he kind of has that like oh my gosh this soul connection with like this animal and it's like beautiful and I feel I'm getting like cold chills so like that's usually like when they get closer to me that's like usually their sign of like yes so I feel like he has either the super strong connection with animals, or an animal is going to come into his life, and like it's just gonna like it's gonna be like this connection that like it takes away a little bit of the stress and anxiety.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Like it takes a little bit of it away, and like it's a beautiful bond, um, like between the two, because I do feel like that. I feel like he's got that connection, and maybe he just doesn't, or no one, you know, kind of realizes it or knows about it. But I do feel
mm.
like he has a specific connection. Um, okay. They're wanting me to kind of ask questions, or have you ask questions if you have any. So do you have any questions by chance? I know I just threw like
Okay.
a load of
That was,
stuff.
and I mean, that was very interesting because it did go kind of in some directions that I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting. So, okay, so with Lil, with
Hmm.
the dog, um, so I mean, I do feel like she is like already starting to transition. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, so it was interesting you said angel because I feel like she will become an angel, like a
Yeah.
guardian angel. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And that's,
do
go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I mean, we've been kind of like waiting for it
Hmm.
to happen and like giving her like permission and stuff, but then
Yeah.
she still sticks around. So
Yes, yes. And I feel like that's kind of where that like that attitude that like I can just like I'm so headstrong, like I kind of like do what I want kind of attitude. I feel like that
yeah,
was really where she came in. But I will say I think that's why I was kind of having two different pulls, is
yeah,
because I do feel that she has started that
yeah.
transition.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I think you'll kind of know. That's what she
Okay.
keeps saying is I think you'll know.
Yeah.
She will, this is her, I'm like covered in like culture. She keep like, she's going to kind of tell you and you're going to kind of know. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Oh,
Yeah.
and I almost feel like Sun's going to kind of know. I feel like the whole
Okay.
collective is just going to be like, yeah, like we kind of, we're all here together. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah, she really does. And like I know this is so like not like she just really loves you guys. And I like there genuinely is so much love like just like radiating from her, that it is so it's so unique to be able to feel a dog's love through connection, or an animal's love through
Yeah.
connection, because it is so, and well, and even in like human spirit too, it's so magnified that it makes me just
Hmm.
like want to like literally like lift off the chair and just like be so like just like it's
Yeah.
so euphoric feeling, like the amount of love that comes from Lil, that comes from grandparents, that comes from
Yeah.
like there's so much, and it's really beautiful. And so I really do think that she is going to be just kind of like she's going to follow you around still.
Oh yeah.
Whenever her time comes, she's still going to follow you around that house, and she'll
Yeah.
still be with you. Yeah. Yeah.
I always tell her, I know you're gonna haunt me, but no, I'm just joking though. I do feel like I call her my little spirit dog because I do feel
Hmm.
like she's been like a guardian here, and then
Yeah.
we'll cross over and do the same. I actually do feel like she is very connected to when she goes. Um, I mentioned I don't have a partner, but
Hmm.
that has been something like with manifesting and everything of like calling in like
Yeah.
really like a divine partnership. And I feel like she will go and then it will usher, new
Yeah.
energy in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and so I'm just like, okay, girl.
Yeah, yeah. She's a driving force. And when you said that, because she kind of said yes, like she's gonna have a lot. She's gonna have a lot to do with a lot of things, I feel like. I think she's gonna have a lot to do with Sun
Mhm.
finding an animal, but I feel like she it's kind of funny how she just said it. She's like, I know I'm small, but I carry so much love. And like, I'm literally going, like, I really do feel like she's gonna kind of, I almost feel like I'm walking and you'll kind of get like little like zings here, like look up or like look over there. And you
Mhm.
might look over and you might see like a white dog or something. Like you might like
Mhm.
get those little pops in your head. She's very much so. I feel like she's gonna be on the other side, like really, really sending a lot of love your way. So
Oh, good. I really love that. Um, okay, let me think what else. So, well, it was interesting actually. You said something about a cat. I mean, I did have, cats growing up and
hmm.
stuff. It was never particularly like, oh, this like, house cat that, they were like barn
Yeah.
cats and stuff. But I did actually think about that. And I have not felt this in a long time, but there was a period where I felt like I would feel a cat rubbing against my legs.
Hmm.
And so that reminded me of that. And I don't
Yeah.
know if that was just, if it was, one of the cats that we used to have, or
Yeah.
if it was just kind of like a spirit
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah,
So,
I'll be honest, it felt like there were animals over here.
mm-hmm,
And whether that could have been animals from when you were a child, from
mm-hmm,
someone else that you had a connection to, there felt like there were a couple over here
mm-hmm.
already that are just around you in one way or
Okay.
another. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. And, um, even when you said a little bit about the Spitfire, like because I mean Lil is very docile though, so
Yeah.
it's funny though because she's very little, but she's always been a little skittish.
Yeah.
Um, and she's actually she lived with my former mother-in-law for a while,
Hmm.
and then even she lived with my mom for a while when I was going through a divorce, and so she's kind of like been
Yeah.
been around to like other people, and I felt like that was kind of like that when they needed her she was there too. So, and
Yeah.
maybe at the time that I didn't necessarily need her.
Yeah.
um but my mom has a dog who just passed actually,
Okay.
same age and stuff, and she was a little spitfire. So I was like, oh, I think a little bit of Maisie's coming through.
I was gonna say there was someone over here who was not aggressive, but like actually a
Oh yeah.
spitfire. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
she ran the house and she was
yeah,
like this big. So
yeah.
um um I was trying to think. So I mean, I guess with a lot of things did resonate with what you said about my son. His
Hmm.
name is
Hmm.
and there, I mean, everything that you said just very much was, there is, he is a child of very few words.
Yeah,
Even when I really try to like, talk to him and get him to open up. And I think that hearing this is not, necessarily like just kind of like reconfirms like some things that I did already know, but
hmm.
that like, it's kind of easy to just go about, our days and just let him be
Yeah,
quiet and let him
yeah,
like, and like I think it does give me that knowledge and stuff, and knowing that I have the support of like
yeah.
trying to get him to open
And
up a little. I am a Reiki master, which would then I means I could
oh
teach.
yeah,
So, but
yeah, yeah,
but so no, that's, and then I mean just kind of just so to like the connection with different animals
hmm.
has always been very very apparent. Anybody's animals, my mom's, my sister's, anybody's, that like we sometimes call him like the dog whisperer
Hmm. Yeah,
because he does, and but he is just such a very quiet, but then he
yeah,
does like gravitate towards and stuff. And I mean, Lil, she's just not, she's never been like a real, like she loves to be pet because
yeah.
all dogs do, but she's never been like a cuddly dog. She's
Super,
never, so
yeah,
we have not, he's not like had that and stuff, and she's always been very skittish. And but I could see, so I'm not going to tell him that because then now he's going to think he's going to get a dog, another dog.
yeah,
I'll let an animal find us.
yes. There you go.
um so yeah, I don't think I have any other questions. It was just everything was really validating, and I'm always surprised because it does kind of go in like a different different direction
Yeah.
than what I was necessarily expecting. But I do think it was all very good, good things to hear. Um, so this is also funny. I laughed when you said this because I do have a red rose for my grandma, and it's my
Mm-hmm.
maternal grandmother. And then I've been really like experimenting with Chat GPT,
Uh-huh.
and all of the insane things that it can do. And I'm just going with it. And it did create an oracle card for me from my cousin that was a rose just last
Yeah.
night. And I forgot about it. And she's like, and then when you're like, she's like, I send them to, and I was like, oh my gosh, she did.
Oh, that's awesome. Cause
I know.
she,
So I was like, oh my goodness. Oh goodness. And
yes.
I know she does watch over. I mean, we grew up together. We were in school together, same age. She's just a few months younger than me. And we had like a group of friends that, we were all friends with and
Yeah.
throughout all growing up and stuff. And I can really see that. So,
Yeah.
and that was very unexpected. So she did pass from an overdose, and it was very unexpected. Nobody
Wow.
knew. So yes, but and then I feel like you were connected to my maternal grandparents, and then but my other grandparents are also there too,
Yeah.
which would be connected to my cousin. So I have a
Yes.
lot of people who are on the other side, and
Yes.
sometimes I'm like, oh well, that could describe both of them.
Yes. Yeah. And it kind of just, some will come in really strong. And a lot of the times it's people in spirit that the sitter didn't think would like come through. So like, if like, they
Yeah.
might think, oh, like Zoe's gonna come through or whatever, and it's someone else entirely. A lot of the times
Hmm.
that's how it happens. I don't know why, but they just they'll come in
Yeah.
strong. So, but yeah, it is. Um, they're definitely strong communicators.
Yeah,
The
they
you said
are.
her name was, I think,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was my cousin.
she made herself she made herself known.
That's not surprising.
Yes.
That's not surprising. Actually, and usually my grandmother, she was very strict actually. She was more
Hmm.
of like, but very like, and so she's always the one that I would expect to come forward. And
Hmm.
then like sometimes my grandpa will, and he was more of the
Yeah.
quiet one and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm always like a little bit surprised. And I mean, I do, um, they were never like, I don't remember a lot.
Hmm.
I mean, I was very young when he passed away though.
Yeah.
But I do think like they're like, I can feel their love, like
Yeah.
even the love they had for each other. But like, no, they were never very like, I don't really remember them
As
embracing
I
or
say, I didn't know how to say it without sounding like so like hurtful, but like they were just like standing so just pleasantly next to each other, but they like weren't holding hands. They weren't like,
yeah.
they were just like just standing right next to each like just standing right
Yeah.
there, just
And
enjoying
I
each
really
other's
don't, when
company.
you said that, I was like, I don't actually know if I do ever remember seeing them hold hands or embrace
Yeah.
or anything. And I was just a kid,
Yeah.
but that didn't surprise me then when you said that. So, but okay, I know we went over a little bit, but this was so great. And this was I feel like exactly what I needed today.
Did you love this episode of the Ultra Aligned podcast? If so, I would be so incredibly grateful if you could leave a glowing review and 5 stars. Your support helps this podcast reach even more people who are ready to step into their light. Have questions or suggestions for topics you'd like me to dive into? I'd love to hear from you. Just shoot me an email at theultralignedpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for sharing. I love you all. I'll see you next time on the Ultra Aligned Podcast.